how should someone process failures when they're getting many of them as they're growing up, and how should they, like, I mean, mental state? Because
Mm,
I think there's a huge taboo with failure, especially in India,
yes.
that people will not do anything new just because it doesn't have any failure involved in it. Like it's a standard path I can take.
Right. No, and I completely understand where that's coming from, because not everybody has the same opportunity set or privileges that even I had, right? We talked a
Mhm,
little bit about my engineering
mhm,
experience, where I struggled at times. I got knocked on my head a couple of times. So in my first year of engineering, I actually I failed a few of those courses, right? And
mhm,
coming from being top of the class for the first 12,
mhm,
15
mhm,
years of my education, and then kind of
mhm,
hitting this, it hit me like a freight train, right? And it's like, okay,
mhm,
why?
mhm,
How did you suddenly just kind of go
mhm,
from
mhm,
here to there, right? So,
mhm,
um, so and I can imagine that if you're coming from a family that has very little to give outside of
mhm,
this, they've put in all of their investments in you
mhm,
as an individual, then it's a
mhm,
really hard place to be, right?
mhm,
And it can, that pressure, expectations, it can wear you down.
mhm,
I personally, when I think about what happened there, I use that as a way to kind of maybe introspect a little bit and figure out what can I do differently in terms of
mhm,
achieving what I need to do. And if my goal there, it's funny, one of the first things I did after that was,
mhm,
it immediately, I had a heart to heart with my parents, and it
mhm,
immediately kind of lowered their expectations of what I was going
mhm,
to get out of every exam I was going to take after that, right? Before,
mhm.
the conversation used to be like, are you going to, they wouldn't even ask me, because doing well was like table stakes, right?
Given, yeah, yeah.
You just
Mhm,
want to figure out how much I made at the end of the day, or they didn't even care.
mhm,
Then the
mhm.
conversations became like, you think you'll pass, you'll be okay, right?
Right,
So
right.
yeah, it helped reset a little bit of that expectation. But
Mhm,
and that's because I told them, like, look, I mean, there are other things I want to do, right? And this is not
mhm,
like my one and only priority. Yes, I do want to finish and I want to complete.
mhm,
I'm not going to drop out of college, but
mhm,
it helped me kind of reset some expectations, helped me
mhm,
prioritize what was important to me, and
mhm,
then I started to figure out what I could do to make those happen, right? So if I
mhm,
knew that I had to do, in whatever my expectations were, if I had the expectation that I was going to become top of the class again, then I
mhm,
would have channeled all of my energy into that, and that would be my
mhm,
only goal, right? But if that
mhm,
was not, and I knew I had to get a first class, right?
mhm,
Not a distinction, but a first class in my engineering, then
mhm,
if that meant I needed 2 months before the exams to really focus in on that, then I
mhm.
would spend the rest of my time doing other stuff. But those two
Right.
months I was kind of zoned in on the education.
Doing that. Got it. Yeah.
So I think failure creates these moments where it allows you to introspect and determine
Mhm,
what truly drives you and what motivates you.
mhm,
And you've got to use that and talk about it, right? One of the things we don't do is we don't talk about it with each other, right?
mhm, mhm,
The very fact that we publish our scorecards in this country, right? We don't
mhm,
publish our scorecards, right? Everything's kind of behind glass wall, behind a door.
mhm,
So it's a very personal thing. You're always
mhm,
worried about, should I talk about this, can I ask this person what they did? In India, it
mhm,
wasn't like that. Where I
mhm,
was, the scorecard used to be there. Everybody knew who passed, who
mhm,
failed, what
mhm.
score they got.
Right, 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 right,
So,
right.
so it was very open in that sense, and it made you, you could either just turn down and shut down completely, or
Right, right, right.
have a
Yeah.
conversation and say, yeah man, I really struggled with this thing, I just did not get this
Good.
course,
Right,
and I
right.
need some help, right? um,
Mhm,
I think having those conversations helps, and
mhm,
finding those people that you trust and whom you can rely on, whether it's
mhm,
friends, family, advisors, mentors,
mhm.